Hey there. Welcome to episode 38 of Toy Talk with Mike and Chad. I am Chad.
I'm Mike.
And the part of our collection we'll be talking today is actually more focused on myself because I have made quite a few purchases over the last couple weeks in anticipation of the new TMNT Mutant Mayhem movie. And I also have just a one-off character that I'm going to talk about first, so let's jump right into it.
Alright, give it.
So I mentioned before that I've basically stopped collecting McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. However, a couple months ago, they showed us that they were going to release this guy, the bank robber Joker from The Dark Knight movie. So, first impressions, when I was thinking about getting him, I was kind of on the fence because I don't really collect this line anymore. So
yeah,
I decided to give it another shot, and I was surprised because I think I joked with Mike a couple times that Todd must be watching our videos or something because I always complain that McFarlane does not give any accessories with his figures.
Yeah.
This time we got an alternate Joker head.
Yeah.
With Heath Ledger's.
And it looks like a good likeness.
It does.
Yep.
And he gave us another set of hands, which are almost identical to this set. So, right away, that kind of annoyed me because obviously if it's a bank robber Joker, I'm going to display him like this. They've already got another Joker figure with that purple same head.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of a waste to me. And the alternate hands, I don't need those. Why wouldn't you give us a gun? What's he going to rob the bank with?
A gun or closed fists or something different.
But
it's a start.
Give us the little Uzi that he had.
At least it's accessories. They even could have given you a little string on his shirt or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's a solid figure. I am happy with it. Don't really have too much more to say if you wanted to have a look at him.
Yeah, it looks good.
His joints are really noisy, too.
It would have been cool if there was a way, they could make this mask actually come off.
Come off, that's...
Because, but yeah, it looks cool. I dig this figure.
So I pre-ordered him off of GameStop, and got a call that he came in last week. So... picked them up, yeah. I'm super stoked about this guy because that was, like I said, one of my favorite Batman movies.
That's everybody. I think that's everybody's favorite Batman movie, pretty much.
I think so. Not just because Heath Ledger passed away before it was released. I liked him as an actor, but I think the whole movie itself was so great. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so he's the one-off, the bank robber Joker. So we'll jump into the Turtles next.
All right. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we saw the Turtles trailer together when we saw a movie a couple of months back.
Yeah.
And you weren't excited initially.
No, that's funny. That's actually funny. I remember. Yeah, Turtles is one of those franchises that I grew up with, you grew up with to an extent, although you were almost at the...
Yeah. I'm 5 years older than you?
5 years.
So yeah, I was at the tail end. I was a little too old for Turtles. So I had the first wave of figures when I was a kid, and I watched the first season or two of the cartoon, but all those later Turtles that came out, I was just I wasn't really into it. So I'm much more nostalgic for things like G.I. Joe, Transformers, and He-Man. Yeah.
So when it comes time for remakes and everything, I always cringe because I don't want them to destroy a property that I love so much. It would be the equivalent of you and G.I. Joe, or
which they've done.
And you and Transformers, which Michael Bay has also done several times.
And all the even just the animated they've done Transformers Armada, Transformers Animated, Transformers Prime. Not to say those are good or bad per se, but they're just not. They look totally different from what I grew up with.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time they relaunch Turtles or Transformers, they try and put a new spin on it to grab a new audience. I understand the need, but at the same time, it can be a little jarring.
And for me, when we were watching that trailer, and I will go see the movie, but when I was watching the trailer, there's too much "Yo, dude, bro!" Like, I know they were always like that, but it's like more of this generation's talking style, so they're doing like all sorts of weird stuff. The animation looks kind of questionable, so...
See, I don't know, because I wasn't really excited to see this movie, but at the same time, like, I wasn't against it. When I first saw that trailer, I thought it looked pretty promising. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll be honest, I don't love the design for April and stuff like that, but the turtles themselves and the animation, I think it looks pretty cool. Like, it's clearly inspired by the Spider-Verse movies and its whole, like, 2D, 3D meshed style and everything. But so yeah, I was more forgiving of this trailer than you were.
Yeah.
And then I was out shopping 3 weeks ago or something.
3 weeks, yeah.
And I saw the new turtle figures, and I was like, these look actually really cool. Regardless of what you think of the movie, I thought I like these designs because I didn't care for I don't know if I ever really watched an episode of the 2012 Ninja Turtles, but I have all the figures from the 2012 because I thought they were really cool designs to the turtles, and that's kind of how I felt when I saw these in store. I'm like, love it or hate the movie, you know, the voice actors, whatever. The toys look solid, and they're affordable. They're $15.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm tempted to get one, but I have been dealing with. I'm in a bit of a financial crunch.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not buy things that I don't need. So like things like G.I. Joe Classified, the figures are coming out, and
apparently 47 new.
I collect G.I. Joe Classified, so when a new one comes out, I need it.
Yeah.
But when I saw these turtles, it's technically a whole new line. It's not connected to my old turtles or anything like that. I'm like, I can't buy one because then I'll buy 4, and then if I buy 4, I'll buy more. So I said no, and I put them back and I left. And then you literally texted me like an hour later, and you were like, "Oh, I want to buy something or something." And I was like, "Well, I just saw the new turtles at Walmart for $15," and I was sort of half joking because I thought you didn't like the designs. Next thing I know, you're texting me to be like, "I bought them all."
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah. So like, I guess I don't know. I have to give it a chance. I have to understand that they're trying to draw a new crowd, so obviously they're gonna change the looks and everything. My problem with them originally was how stupid they looked. Like, just after the trailer when they announced the new toys, I was like, these toys look like absolute cheap garbage, and why did they make the characters look so dumb? I remember specifically showing one of my coworkers at work how stupid they were, and she said, "Chad, don't buy them." And I said, "I won't." And then I buy them. So I'll start. I've just got them in my bag here, so I'll pull out random figures. The first one, I guess, is going to be Superfly.
Okay, so now so your first purchase, you went and bought just the 4 turtles, though,
just
right?
the 4 turtles, and then I was like, well, now I can't have just the 4 turtles. I need all of them. So I bought them all. For whatever reason, our local Toys R Us did not get the Splinter figure, and I can't find them anywhere. So
that's the only one you don't have?
That's the only one I don't have. So I have all the others. So Superfly, I did a little research, and that's apparently Baxter Stockman. They just took away that name from him. So
yeah,
would make sense, I guess.
It makes sense. Like, he's a fly guy. I kind of assumed he was Baxter Stockman. It'd be kind of dumb if he wasn't, because they already had a fly character.
Like, I don't understand the whole claw. Like, he's got a claw, and I'm gonna break him.
Yeah, Baxter Stockman is a character that he feels pretty core to Ninja Turtles to me, but I'm not in love. Like, even the old cartoon design, and the old toy design, it was kind of goofy. Mm-hmm. I hated on the retro toy how he had like some fly arms and some human arms.
Yeah,
it made him kind of gross, like something out of like John Carpenter's. So at least here he's a fly.
But like, what happened to his other shoe? Because he's got one shoe half on his foot, like it grew through his shoe.
It's weird that he's got one gigantic arm.
One gigantic arm, the other arm, and like his clothes. I don't know.
So what do you think of this design?
It's new. It's new. I'll like it for what it is.
Can I see him?
He stands a lot easier than some of the other figures, which was one of my first complaints.
So, like, I actually like this head design probably more. Like, if I can separate from my childhood and everything, I think if you just looked at the 80s Baxter Stockman, I think this guy's head is cooler because it looks more...
Like a fly.
Like a fly, more monstrous.
Yeah.
Except I don't like his haircut. I wish he didn't have hair.
That's stupid.
I don't really love the non-symmetrical look. I don't know why he has one super beefy arm and the other not. I like his wings. They kind of remind me of Buzz Off with the yellow translucent.
This was a super weird package, though, because, like, 3 of his wings came attached and 1 was just like a pop-in.
I see that.
Or maybe it was 2.
Maybe there's a scene in the movie where his wing gets ripped out or something.
That could be true. So, I mean, overall...
Now, I am surprised you tell me that he stands better because he's kind of shaped like Hellboy. He's got like little teeny hoof legs with this big bulky upper torso.
So that's another complaint I'll get into when I talk about the turtles. So maybe I'll just pull all the other ones out before I get into the turtles.
Okay. And who's he voiced by in the...
He's going to be Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. So that could be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
be super fly.
All right. So why don't we give him out of 10? Where you put this design, this figure
based on
the figure line
or the figure line? I'd give him probably a 7.5 out of 10. I think a lot of the symmetrical proportions take the points off.
Yeah, I'm probably at a 7 for this guy too. So for a line that we were maybe a little skeptical of initially, I think 7's pretty good.
Now this might have been my second hesitation. So this is the new Leatherhead, and what I'll get you to do is probably splice in some of the still shots.
I'll put some of your Instagrams up, and I'll probably put in some of the actual like production images, official.
So images. This was a weird one. They've changed Leatherhead in the movie. So Leatherhead was traditionally a male,
kind of an Australian, like Crocodile Dundee type of guy, wasn't he? Or
not
was
Australian. He was Louisiana.
Okay,
he was
Louisiana.
Nolans.
Right.
Oh, I get on to you.
Right, so he had a thick accent.
So now, in the movie, Leatherhead is a female, and they've made her Australian.
Right, and
so
Rose Byrne is voicing
Rose
her.
Byrne, yeah. So, I don't know, like, the goggles are kind of new. I can't judge this because I have no context on the character in the movie. Mm-hmm. But, like, the head has some pretty decent articulation. Like, you can pretty much get it to
so
do
does
a
she have a
360.
shotgun or something?
She has a shotgun, which holsters in the back there. But the problem with these weapons, I didn't bring any of the weapons today because their hands are so tiny and not pliable, and the weapons seem to be... They have, like, a really thick base, so they don't fit in the hands properly, and they always fall out. So I just left them at home because I didn't want to lose any. She's got pretty good articulation all around. I'm still weirded out by this version because it's so different than what I'm used to.
I don't like this. Like, maybe she'll be hilarious in the movie and it'll grow on me, but like, I don't like... I don't love that they changed the gender, but like, that aside, I just don't love the look. Like, it's got this big gunt on the front of the figure. And the goggles are kind of weird. The little teeny legs, like, I don't like its proportions. What's that big, like,
the jowl?
The jowl, I guess. Yeah. Like, because it's not like that's a feature of Crocs and alligators. That looks like almost... I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I'd give this a 3. Maybe.
You're not far off from where I was. I was a 4.
Yeah.
Just based on like the overall look, I don't understand it, and I think part of that is my bias towards changing Leatherhead. I don't know, but I'm not super impressed this one. The one I'm not impressed with, I'll see if I can pull that one out next.
Yeah, I will say, like, when I saw these toys, now mind you, they didn't have all the mutants when I was in Walmart and I saw them. They had the turtles. But I love the designs of the turtles. I'm not so convinced on the other mutants.
Yeah. So this, like, I actually remember telling my friend Al and sending him some messages around these, and he's like, who let those go by quality control? Because they look absolutely terrible. Yes. So this is probably the one I hate the most. Rocksteady was one of my favorite mutants in the original cartoon comic books. Here's Rocksteady with his enormous hunchback and his fat gut and muffin top, which, I mean, he did have to an extent in the cartoon.
Yeah,
but
the gut is okay, but that hunch is weird.
It's so weird. And, like, his head, it won't move up, but it moves side to side. And, like, if you pose him with his head to the side, it just makes his hunch look that much weirder. So, he comes with his typical, like, Uzi. He's got great articulation, but this is a terrible fucking head sculpt. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not just the head; it's just the whole design.
It's the body, like,
because it makes it look like.
And why are his tusks black?
I don't know, but like his arm just came out.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. It was packaged like that because he's so wide and has that hunchback. Yeah. They had to package him with one arm not in the socket. So that's another gripe because that pops out pretty easily. There's no like noise when you get it in place. It just goes in. And
I'll be curious if in the movie, and maybe you've seen screenshots already, because these guys always start out as humans, and then they get like, is the human gonna have this giant hunch like this, or is it because he turns into a rhino? Because it just doesn't look like he's a proportioned rhino. Like,
no.
His head grew to the size of a rhino, but his body didn't or something like that.
Yeah, and like, so here's the other thing. So like, rhinos would be on all fours.
Yeah.
So, like, how does his head... Like, his head can't move up. And like, would you have that hunchback as a rhino?
Well, to be fair, like, Rocksteady never... He was always a bipedal rhino, I wouldn't worry about did he look right on all fours, but like this...
It's just so weird.
It's just weird. I don't like it.
And like, for one of my favorite characters, that's such a bad design. And like, I don't know, it's... Yeah.
They really struggle with getting Bebop and Rocksteady right in that... Like, I thought the Turtles have had a lot of cool variations over the years. But every time they try and change Bebop and Rocksteady from the original 80s look, they fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like those live action ones.
Terrible.
These look terrible. I didn't like, even though I really liked the 2012 Turtles. Like, if you remember, like, Bebop was really skinny and had like an all black leather, like, cat suit or something with an open chest. Like, I didn't like that look. Yeah, they have a really hard time getting these guys right, which is a shame because they're such cool, beloved characters.
Yeah. And I was always a fan of him, but I don't think this time Master Shredder will be getting him to go get those Toidles. But, yeah, that's my Rocksteady impression, but based off the 80s animated series. I don't know. He's like...
And who voices him?
I'm going to pull that up right now.
So Seth Rogen is doing Bebop.
Seth Rogen is doing Bebop. So...
Like, who knows? Maybe if I hear the voice actor... Like, is John Cena doing one of them? Am I making that up?
John Cena... No, I think he is doing one.
Like, maybe when I hear the actor, I'll be like, well, maybe that... I can imagine that voice coming out of this body.
So Jackie Chan's doing Splinter.
Yeah.
Nicholas Cantu is doing Leo. Seth Rogen is Bebop. Micah Abbey, he's doing Donatello. Brady Noon is doing Raphael. Ayo Edebiri is doing April. John Cena's doing Rocksteady. Okay.
That's what I thought. Like,
Post Malone's Ray Fillet. That's interesting.
That'd be interesting. Like, this looks like something that John Cena's voice would come out of.
Paul Rudd is Mondo Gecko, and Giancarlo Esposito is Baxter Stockman.
Okay. Like, there's lots of good actors involved in it.
Yeah. So that figure is... I'd struggle to give that a 3.
Yeah.
That's like a 2, maybe, at best.
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I think, spoiler alert, I think I like Bebop even less.
Really?
Yeah.
I see Bebop, out of the two of them, is probably the one that I like the most. But I definitely agree. Like, so here's Bebop.
And now that looks more like his design from the live action movie. Like, they made him really fat with a beer gut. I don't like his curly hair. And his,
it's like a pompadour. And it was always a mohawk. This is more like wavy in the front and then like styled down in the back and sides.
And I think objectively it's a better look than Rocksteady, but because Bebop is by far my favorite,
I have
higher hopes for him, and it's just like
it's like me and Rocksteady. Like I'd probably give him a 5, whereas you're probably like super low.
Yeah, I give them both 2.
I don't know about the tattoo on the chest. I don't know if it's supposed... It says wow, but I wonder if it was supposed to say mom.
It probably is. I imagine that's a joke in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love it. This whole aesthetic of the little teeny legs with the bigger bodies.
Yeah.
These guys have it. I don't really like that look.
So I'd say let's go as Rocksteady and Bebop for Halloween, but I might have a hard time growing a hunch.
I was Bebop for Halloween a few years back. Did you ever?
No, I didn't.
I'll put a picture in
here.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so this is what started it all. These are the turtles.
Okay.
So when I saw them, doesn't matter who I pick out first, I'll go with your favorite, Leo. When I saw them at first, they reminded me a lot of the Best Action figures, or the BST AXN. I don't know what their brand is called. Best Action, I want to say. They looked thin and cheap. So when you said they were at Walmart, I went and I was like, you know what? I don't really think I like these. Like, they look cool, but I'm just worried that some of their appendages might fall off because they look super cheap.
Yeah.
So I watched, we were talking about Pixel Dan in our last video. Mm-hmm. I watched TMNT review of Pixel Dan opening these.
Yeah.
He loved them and he made some good points. The articulation was really good in them. Now, when he was posting them, he had them standing perfect.
Yeah.
So I went and I was like, all right, I'll go to Toys R Us and pull the trigger because they didn't have Leo there.
Yeah.
So when I got home and opened them, they did not stand at all. They were falling over, so I commented on his video and I was like, I actually went out and bought these because of your video and they don't stand too well. And he's like, yeah, their posability really suffered a lot. So he said it took me hours to figure out how to get them to stand still. So how I did that was I twisted his legs to the side and then turned his knees. Okay. So it's kind of giving him more balance, but it was the same for all of them across the board.
But yeah, so that aside, and like I don't have anywhere flat to stand him, I'll take your word for it. But I really do like this design. Like they haven't strayed that far.
That's the one saving grace from the...
Like if I held this up to the one from the 80s to my mom and said, you know, doesn't look what they changed, she'd be like, it looks the exact same.
Yeah.
Which, they are a little thinner now and everything, but the fact that they are supposed to be teenagers, like...
I can respect them more for that.
Yeah.
And I think once I get into some of the other ones, you'll hear my gripe about them. But like I was mentioning to you, their weapons don't stay in their hands. They're very loose because of their hands aren't flexible, and the weapons they're not soft plastic, but they're not hard either. It's kind of like in the middle.
Yeah.
You try to stick them in there, they'll fall out. So there's a specific way you have to position them, and it looks kind of awkward.
Okay. Well, I dig it. And I like the way the face is painted on there. It seems to match the animation.
Yes.
Pretty good.
And they did come with little turtles that weren't mutated. So that was kind of an added one. They also matched the skin color of the turtles, because I know some of the turtles have different skin tones.
Yeah, the vintage line, they were all different.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're all the same, depending on...
Leo, Donnie looked brown.
Yeah.
In the original. But, yeah, Leo was pretty cool. I was excited to get him.
I would give that an 8.5.
I would also give that an 8.5. Let's go with Raph. So Raph is noticeably bigger. He's thicker. His shell... I don't know. I like his face, though. I wasn't a fan of the whole like bandana mask covering, but it's grown on me because of the live action movies. And
Yeah, and I actually, when I saw these guys in the store, and because I actually looked at them again after I knew you had bought them. I hadn't seen them yet, but I went back to the store and I started, because I was a little envious that you got them. Yeah. And I was like, man, he got them, and he's posting pictures now. I kind of want them. But even just to buy the 4 turtles, I'm in for $60 plus tax, and it's like, I really shouldn't. So, but when I was looking at them, I was like, maybe could I buy just one? Is it possible?
No.
And if I was going to do that, I thought Leo would be my default because he's my favorite. But when I was looking at them all, I thought if I was to buy one, I think I would buy Raph. I think he's the best looking one of the bunch.
I would tend to agree with that, and I like his little scar there on the front part of his shell. It's like he's got some battle damage.
Yeah, and the thing that's... My introduction to Turtles was really like the 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
And I know they give their little description about Michelangelo's the party dude and Raphael's cool but rude. I don't think that ever really came across in the cartoon. I thought Raphael always seemed just as nice as all the other turtles.
Yeah, it was definitely comic.
So it was when I saw the movie, the live action movie from 1990 or whatever,
1990,
that he was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And he was off on his own. He was always fighting with the other turtles. I thought, well, why did they make him such a jerk? But
I did think of that, and it's to market to kids.
But it's also gone on, like, I've read more iterations of Turtles in the years since, going back to the original Mirage comics, the IDW relaunch.
Yeah.
And Raphael is usually portrayed as a much gruffer, kind of meaner, oftentimes bigger, a little more independent turtle than the rest. That, that kind of all works for me now.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't really like it, but now I do, and I like that full face mask.
I'd give him probably a solid 9.5, I think.
Yeah, I gave Leo an 8.5. I give him a 9.
Like, his head is kind of stiff. That's good, but
yeah, no,
I'd be nervous of like trying to move it too much and it popping off. But
yeah, and like my scores are based on like I'm not seeing how they're falling over. I'm not seeing how they can't hold their weapons. That might all frustrate me a little bit. But just looking at the figure, at face value, the design of the character, so far these guys are home runs for me, really. I like the turtles.
Yeah, so you'll see what I've done to pose him. So I've just like twisted his leg sideways and then kind of turned so his knee pad is kind of off to the side. It's like that for all of them. But anyways, Pixel Dan loved him, and that was his only gripe. And
yeah,
it's nice to hear that I wasn't the only one that happened to, because there's nothing worse than getting a dud.
I don't know if it's just because they're thinner, but I've never thought this looking at a Ninja Turtle before. But he's giving me a bit of a Kermit vibe.
Yeah,
he's got those like skinny little legs that looks like frog legs.
Yeah,
yeah, he's kind of Kermit-y.
Mikey, who was my second favorite turtle, he's kind of weird in that he was always portrayed as like the party dude and the kind of runt out of the litter, the funny guy. I wasn't sold on his face at first because I think he's got this like stupid smile.
Yeah,
but the smile grew on me, and like as I saw more trailers for the Mutant Mayhem movie, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he technically is a kid in the movie. Like, they're trying to give him that vibe. So, I don't know. He is what he is. He's cool.
Is he shorter?
He's a little bit. Not.
Yeah.
It's like
a hair shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those two look like they're pretty much the same shade, whereas he is much darker.
Yeah. So, like I said, they're little mini non-mutated turtles. They all have the same color, so that's kind of nice.
So his is darker green?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of these three, I'd probably give this an 8. But that's also sometimes based on the character. Like when we were kids, me and my brother split our collections halfway down the middle. I had Leonardo and Donatello, and Doug had Raphael and Michelangelo. So I have less of an attachment to those two characters just based on that.
Good to know. So you were a Donnie boy.
Donnie was my other guy there, and I know this guy's got glasses, which I don't love.
Now,
and they fall off?
No. So the glasses are removable.
Which is good.
So, Donnie was my favorite turtle. Is my favorite turtle. He's always been the science nerd and like the techie guy. So they gave him a few accessories like a smartphone, this really annoying belt is tedious to keep on, so I've kind of MacGyvered it to stay on there. But he's got his little cell phone. He's got some earphones around his neck. And with the glasses on... If they can stay on... There we go.
Okay.
He looks kind of cool. I actually enjoy the glasses. Yeah. I identified with Donatello because I am kind of a dork, doofus.
Yeah, they don't look too bad here. There have been other iterations of him, like I think the live action movie, where they give him glasses and they turn him into like a big Coke bottle glass.
Yeah, he's got like the microscopes on the...
Yeah, like this doesn't look too bad. I don't know. It does help to differentiate him. It
does. I don't display him with the headphones on because I think that looks terrible. It just
I'd probably get rid of
too much. Yeah.
Little, what do you call those?
Smart. Fanny pack satchel looking thing.
Yeah, a European carry-all.
It's not a purse.
Yeah, and he's my least favorite color. He's kind of a sickly green.
Yeah, that's a gross green.
Yeah, like it looks more froggy.
That being said, though,
yeah,
favoritism aside, I'd give him lower than Raph. I think Raph's just got that edge.
Yep, I'd put him at like an 8.5 with Leo.
Yeah.
So I'm like 8.5, 9 for these guys. So the turtles are pretty. These are pretty good.
They're solid figures.
Like I might still have to buy these.
I've learned to like them, and like I said, just the glasses add so much more to Donnie. And the only thing I wish they would have done differently. So all their weapons are pretty basic, but his bow staff, it's like a solid piece of orange plastic. Like, could you not have made that brown?
Yeah. Are their weapons all solid one color generally?
No, they have like brown bases, and then they have like the silver metal.
Okay.
Mikey's nunchucks are also kind of weird. They're attached to a chain, but the chain is hard plastic, so it doesn't bend. So when you have the nunchucks in his hands, again, you can show Instagram cut-ins. You can have the nunchuck handle in this hand, and the other nunchuck's just like hanging out like that. So it looks really weird. I don't know. Okay. There's almost no posability with that. And a comment Pixel Dan made, which really made sense to me too, is Raph used to always be able to hold his sai with his two fingers in between the blades.
Yeah.
This one, his fingers, they can't do that. They can't do it. So, I mean, that brings it down a little bit, because I like to pose all my turtle figures kind of the same, holding like their one weapon in like a pose.
Yeah.
So these ones, they're just straight up, and because again the hands aren't wide enough, it makes it awkward, so like the sides aren't even facing the proper way.
Yeah.
So a couple points lost based on that from like all the other turtles and these figures in general, but I'm kind of happy with them. Yeah. Splinter is going to be the hard one to track down.
And I've only seen Splinter from the trailer, but I don't love the look of him either.
I can't stand the look.
And is there an April figure too?
They haven't released it yet.
Okay.
I don't know if they will.
Now the thing, of these other mutants you got, if I were to buy any of them, it would maybe be Superfly.
Superfly.
But I could see myself, especially if I do end up getting those 4 turtles, I could see myself getting Ray Fillet and Mondo Gecko maybe. Yeah.
I would assume they're putting them out in like wave 2. I think they might have just went with this core to see how well they sell. And then release. They
always sell well, I think. Kids like turtles.
I know.
Like, I'm sure we'll get another wave.
Which would have Mondo Gecko. It would have, hopefully, Foot Soldiers. I don't know, though, because Shredder's not in the movie that we know of.
Yeah.
But apparently, Krang might make an appearance.
Okay.
So, it's kind of all over the place. But Superfly is casted as the main villain in the movie.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm sure we'll check it out when it comes out. All right, so that's it, I guess.
That's all I've got. Some fun little new acquisitions and a couple duds, but
yeah, not bad.
Movie comes out this Wednesday, I believe.
All right.
I will actually be in Cape Breton until Tuesday the 8th, so we can see it together if you want to wait. If not, I completely understand.
I don't think it's one. I don't know. I was going to say I don't think Vanessa wants to see it. She usually doesn't care for this sort of stuff. But we went and saw Barbie. And they played the trailer for it at the start. And it was, I think, it was her first time seeing it. And she was like, that looks really good. I want to see that. So she might actually want to see it.
Okay.
So if I don't see it with my wife, then yeah, we can go.
But I will be away, so feel free to just let me know what you think after you've seen it. And
yeah, I'll try to get to it. But like August is a busy month. I'm going to see Guns N' Roses this weekend. I'm going to
Carrie
see
Underwood.
Yes, with Carrie Underwood. I don't know why Carrie Underwood is opening for Guns N' Roses, but she is, and whatever. And then I'm going to see Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Burr. Like
I don't have Bill Burr tickets.
Yeah, so there's like a comedy fest following, and then I've got like a family reunion thing. So like, yeah, my weekends are pretty gobbled up for the entire month. Which
we'll have to talk about the comedy festival.
Yes.
In a couple days to figure out our plan, like what we're doing.
Right.
So that's fast approaching.
Okay. Well, for now, let's wrap this up. Maybe we'll do another episode. Maybe we won't. I don't know.
So if you like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully what I said made sense. Let me know your thoughts on the turtle figures. I was pretty harsh on about 50% of them, but that's just my passion for the turtles. And
basically good guys good, bad guys bad.
Except Superfly.
Yeah.
Even with some reservations there. But
yeah,
anyhow, till next time, take care, keep collecting.
Ciao.